So one of my favorite accessories to use with a GoPro is this anamorphic lens from Skyreat. So I'm going to show you how to use this lens, and then I'm going to provide you with several samples so you can see what the footage using this lens looks like. Now, it is important to note up front that this Skyreat lens right here, it costs $69, and this particular lens can be used on the Hero 9, Hero 10, or Hero 11, and it's pretty easy to put on. I'm going to show you how to do that first. Now, if you haven't taken the lens cover off your GoPro before, it's pretty easy. These steps will apply to the 9, 10, and 11. So what you do, you just pull out a little bit on this right here, and then you twist either left or right. And if you pull out while you twist, it's going to pop off just like that. And if it's your first time taking that lens cap off, it can require quite a bit of strength there to pull on it. You might feel like you're going to break it. Chances are you won't break it unless you have super Hulk strength. And if you break that, you're probably just going to crush this camera in your hands while you're doing it. And so in order to get this Skyreat lens on, what you're going to do is you're going to take off the rubber protectors here. And this is going to be the side of the lens that attaches to your GoPro. So what you're going to do is you're going to line this up diagonally, and you're just going to twist. I usually like to twist clockwise, and it's going to snap into place. And when you've gotten it in place, everything's going to be tight along here. There's not going to be any gap. I'm going to show you a couple settings that you need to adjust on the camera in order to use this lens properly. And it's only a couple settings. There's not much you have to change on here, but it is key that you adjust these settings. Otherwise, your footage is going to be unusable with this anamorphic lens. But before I get to that, you might be asking, why would I want to use anamorphic? Anamorphic lenses give you a unique look with the footage from the GoPro. It's kind of hard to describe until you've seen it or tried it. But basically, your footage is going to be in linear mode, but it's going to be a wider field of view in linear mode. And you're also going to have the black bars on the top and the bottom. So it's going to basically be that widescreen cinematic format. And of course, the footage after you film it, you don't have to have the black bars. There is a way that you can zoom in and crop and not have those. But I personally love those black bars there. It looks really cool with the footage filmed with this lens. And the second reason I like this anamorphic lens is it gives a unique look to that background. And when you have sunlight in your frame, it gives it a unique look as well. It kind of gives that bluish, purplish streak there, which can look pretty cool. Like I said, it's hard to describe until you've seen it, but I'm going to show you several examples that I filmed with this on the Hero 11 Black so that you can see exactly what it looks like. So let's talk about the 3 settings that you'll need to change on your GoPro when using the anamorphic lens. The first one is lens. You need to set lens to linear. No other option will work with the anamorphic lens. It does have to be linear, otherwise your footage will be unusable. Second setting you've got to change is hypersmooth. It has to be off. If you have hypersmooth on in any of these modes up here, your footage is going to be unusable. It's going to look terrible, because the hypersmooth will not work properly because of the way this lens distorts. But hypersmooth off. I know what you're probably thinking with that. Your footage is going to look bad because it's not going to be stabilized. And you are correct. If you are moving with this lens, you are not going to have any stabilization. So my recommendation, if you're using this anamorphic lens, you're going to almost for sure want some type of gimbal to go with it. Now, I've got 2 gimbals that I like personally. One of these is the Inky Falcon Plus. This one works good with the GoPro. And the other one I like is the Hohem iSteady Pro 4. So if I had to pick one of these, that's my all-time favorite with the GoPro. If I'm not using the media mod, I like the Hohem iSteady Pro 4 because this one is easier to balance and it's easier getting the GoPro on and off. All you gotta do is just lift up this little clip. I do have a video that talks about this gimbal. I've linked to that above if you wanna check it out. But this one I recommend over the Inky Falcon Plus, unless you're using the media mod or an external mic. If you are, then you'll want the Inky Falcon Plus because you can't use the GoPro in the media mod on the Hohem iSteady 4. It won't fit on there. And other than that, the rest of these settings you can keep the same. As I have showed you in my best settings video for the Hero 11, you don't have to change anything else. Just those 2 key settings. You need lens set to linear and hypersmooth off. So the third setting that has to be changed is not a setting on the GoPro, but it's a setting you have to make when editing the anamorphic footage. So I'm going to demonstrate this quickly in Adobe Premiere Pro. It's going to be similar steps in most other editing software that has the capability to edit anamorphic footage. And we're going to go to New Project, and we're going to name this Anamorphic Test. And we'll just save it to the default location. We're going to do Create. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to do our new sequence. And we're going to do a 4K 23.976, which is 24 frames per second finish timeline. And for settings, we're going to do a frame size of 3840 by 2160. Then we're going to hit OK. And what we're going to do is we're going to import one of the anamorphic clips, and I'm going to show you how to adjust this. And this is the same adjustment you would make to any of them. So I put one here on the desktop that I filmed. We're going to open that, and it's a simple 10-second clip. So what you have to do after you import it is you need to right-click on it, and you need to go to Modify and Interpret Footage. And what you need to do here is you need to go down to Pixel Aspect Ratio. You need to click Conform To. And here you need to select HD Anamorphic 1080 1.333. When you do that, it's going to compress it, and it's going to make it the proper vertical resolution. So after that, you're going to drag it to your timeline. And it's going to give this message, it doesn't match the sequence settings, keep existing settings is what you'll want to click. And you'll notice the black bars are still not showing. The reason for that is because I filmed this in 5.3K resolution and not 4K. If you filmed in 4K, the black bars will show automatically. But if you did 5.3K or anything other than the timeline settings, you're going to right click on this and you're going to click Set to Frame Size. When you do that, boom, it's going to look good. And that is our clip right there. And I'm going to show you how to do this in DaVinci Resolve as well. And to be clear, this is the free version of DaVinci. We're going to do a new project, and we're going to call this Anamorphic Test. We're going to click Create. We're going to go down here to File, Project Settings, and we're going to make sure our timeline is set to 4K, which is going to be 3840 by 2160 Ultra HD. We're going to keep all of these other settings here the same, and we're going to click Save. So now that we've set up our project, we're going to go to File, Import, Media, and we're going to select our clip right here. We're going to click Open. It's going to ask us if we want to change the project frame rate. My clip is in 60 frames per second and the project is 24, but that's fine. We're going to click Don't Change. And the way we change this clip for it to be de-squeezed as anamorphic is we're going to right click on this and we're going to go to Clip Attributes. Under the Pixel Aspect Ratio, we're going to click here where it says Square. We're going to scroll up. And we're going to select 1.3x anamorphic. We're going to hit OK. And then we're going to drop it onto the timeline down here. And there we go. The footage is de-squeezed successfully, and it looks great. So now that we've gotten all those settings and the initial discussion out of the way, I'm going to show you numerous samples that I filmed using this anamorphic lens so you can see what it looks like and see if you're interested in checking it out. So for all of these samples, I did film stationary clips, and I hope you get a real perspective of what this anamorphic lens looks like. So how do you feel about anamorphic footage? I'd love to hear from you. Let me know in the comments below. Until we talk again, happy GoProing.